Hello. We're live now. I'm not
Hi.
there. I'm not there live, but in 30 seconds I'll be here. Can everyone hear us okay? All of the things are bouncing on the computer, but who knows if they're making their way out to YouTube. Is it loud enough? Rach, so give us a little monologue if you're loud enough.
A monologue about what?
Maybe we need
To be or not to be, that is the question.
Yeah, I'll turn it up a little bit. There we go. I think I'm about as loud as it'll take. Yeah, speak as loudly as me.
I don't use my teacher voice at home.
Do this Q&A in your teacher voice.
God. It's not the
It's been on
same.
for 7 seconds. I think we're okay. I need to say that we're live. I think I've just had a notification that I'm live, so at least YouTube knows that we're there. And how do we say? I've got a prepared tweet, luckily. Boom, much more organised, and we had a proper link just to this stream rather than me having to last minute change all the month and stuff. Organised, range. Proper thumbnail. What do you think of the thumbnail this time?
Yeah. You enjoy finding those pictures.
Well, we never pose for a proper picture, so
There's no fun in that.
pose for a thumbnail picture now. There you go. We'll use that. Hi everyone. Have you played Where Am I? No.
Is that a real game?
Is it?
I don't
know.
know.
Let's
Sounds
see.
like a
It's
trick
coming up
question.
as I'm typing it in.
Alice in a Mad Tea Party.
Videos for it? No. Is it this? Alice in a Mad Tea
Do
Party?
you really get those teacups?
You get teacups. We're in.
I'm in.
We haven't, but we're into teacups. Kelly, hi. Audio's fine, that's good. Hi, Scott. Hi, Matt. Cleveland, Ohio. We're doing this at a good enough. I think 5 o'clock's a nice little balance to try and gotta get European people. You gotta get American people in, and maybe people further afield.
Maybe.
Hi, Hugo. Hi, Steve. So we've got. So yeah, it is that one.
Go on the picture. Do you actually
Is
get
it-
that little picture
Yeah,
there?
it seems like a. There are loads of these little bespoke games at Essen. Usually they kind of sell out instantly for the people that like go hunting for these unusual things. But yeah, I don't know how I can get
we
these.
need that.
Can I
Just
get these?
for the teacups. And look at the teapot.
Can I get these pictures up easily on OBS? Can we add browser?
This is where you break the stream.
Yeah, this is where it's all going to go wrong because. Oh no, let's not do that. You just added a browser source. Okay, I thought it was just going to let me add the browser screen to it, but no, that didn't happen. But yeah, this looks really cool. I wish we could.
Post it in the comments.
Oh yeah, that's a better way of doing it. I'll just. There's the picture that we're looking at. This is what's getting the good reaction from us. We're just looking through at a nice little.
Like, look, you
Minute-
covered my face up.
It's all fixed now. Bit by bit, I'm learning how OBS works. That's what I've done. A Slay the Spire playthrough. Oh, and a Mystic Vale playthrough. They all needed recording about 2 or 3 times, but each time I'm getting towards being able to do it first go. Can we? Sorry for this live experimentation. Can I do window capture? Window. No, doesn't look like it. It doesn't know that there's a Safari window open. Maybe that's Mac business. Anyway, Where Am I? I don't know anything about the game still. I just know that it's got these little
It's got
things.
teapots.
You're a character who's strayed into Alice's Wonderland. Being invited, you attend a tea party, hiding your identity. You earn points if you make the party gorgeous by collecting cups and pots in front of your pawn. But if someone else correctly figures out your identity, your points are lost to that player. Anyone may place cups and pots on the table and their pawn on any chair. When you make a move, you should be cautious not to give a hint of your identity to anyone else. You're not really into the bluffing and the deduction.
But I will
in
stare
games,
at those
but-
teacups all day.
Yeah, and I know it's like a translation thing probably, but I really like the description. You earn points if you make the party gorgeous. That's how things should be written. But no, we haven't played it. But I'm keen to find out where I can get a copy. Where am I? I bet it's a shame. Well, it's a shame for many reasons that there isn't an Essen, but for finding small self-printed things like that, it's a shame for those. It is a Rock and Sock Connection t-shirt, and I've got to get the sling out of the way and stuff. And look at me 30 seconds ago to see if I'm showing it off. There it is. Poor Mankind's face is right below the sling.
Yeah, but you can still see the Rock's face, and that's all you need to see.
He's the lesser part of the Rock and Sock Connection. It was all about Mick. Hi, Matthew Johnston's in the chat.
Hi.
Roll for Adventure playthrough coming very soon.
Played that.
We've got hold of it. We've got hold of it now.
Before?
We've got our own copy.
Very recently.
And Pauline Cow, the mastermind, well, one of the key players behind one of your favourites, Rach, and many Vita Lacerda games, and many other games, I'm sure. We just did Rach's top 10. Spoilers. We talked a fair bit about Kanban.
We did.
And why Rach loves Kanban. Oh, they're in Kickstarter right now. So yeah, plug for Where Am I? If they've got these beautiful little China things, I'm just gonna do my shopping in the middle of the live thing. So, what questions have you got for me, Rach?
I haven't got any questions.
I thought this was going to be an interview.
No.
Oh, you can late pledge for it. It just got finished. It does
300% funded.
Yeah, that's really cool. It does look really fun. We have to convert all of that and shipping and stuff. Yeah, I really like the idea of putting these weird little things in there. How quickly would they get kind of batted off the table by Marty though, and smash these? If they are China, maybe they're like plastic made to look like proper tea sets. Steve, is Rach back to school next week? I'm looking forward to it.
I am back to school next week, Tuesday in fact.
It's bank holiday
it's an
tomorrow.
inset day, so just the teachers, and then kids are back Wednesday. I am looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to, I guess, going back to a bit of normalcy, as everybody likes to say. But it's going to be very strange. The classroom's all set out differently. I'm with the younger children now, year 2 children, so they are 6 and 7 year olds. And it's going to be very strange for them, I think, in a way, because they're going to be sat at tables all day. So it's just got to think of ways to lift their spirits up and make sure they have a good time. Yeah. Whilst also, obviously, learning. But yeah, I am looking forward to it. You got
the guidance on Friday
night. Late night Friday. With some changes.
Not swerve into the topic of talking about this government, but yeah, that's how much notice teachers need apparently. A few days. But what subjects do you teach? Well, in primary school, all the subjects.
Yeah, every single subject.
Year by year, it's. Are they separate teachers in elementary school in America for topics?
I don't know. When you watch films and things, they're not.
I'm not sure.
They're the
actually.
same teacher for elementary school, but who knows if films are accurate or if all states are the same? I don't know.
But, yeah, you fluctuate between the years, don't you?
Yeah, so like last year I was with the oldest children in primary school, year 6, 11-year-olds. Now I'm back down to the 7-year-olds.
How's COVID there? It's still around. I think like probably, well, I don't know, most places, because some places are handling it, well, still not handling it. But I think there's still very much worry about it. Everyone has to wear masks in shops and things. Well, everyone should be wearing masks in shops. And I think the deaths have gotten quite low now.
Yeah, deaths are low, but I think infection rates going up.
Yeah, it's kind of
in areas.
Yeah, it's still dying down, but very much a worry that it's all going to flare up again.
Where we live isn't a local lockdown area, because what they're doing here is locking down like counties or little areas that are getting high infection rates, and at the moment we are not one of those places, so I guess that's a positive.
Yeah, it's like it's a risk of it kind of coming around, isn't it?
Yeah, and we do live in a city, so probably more chance here than
although not a huge city.
No, not by any means.
Yeah, but like we went to Manchester not realising that they were in
parts of Manchester.
Parts of Manchester area, not the whole thing. But
yeah,
when you go to a big place, you see that actually where we live is pretty tiny comparatively to the amount of people in these places. It's a lot better for that. But yeah, still a worry that it's all gonna come back. But I think maybe a lot of people are kind of in that state that hope maybe it's kind of died down for now, but it's still ready to maybe come back in the winter or something.
Got to be careful.
But anyway, so in the States it's primary by grade, and then subject. Yes, that's the same as us then. Yeah. So York Riches, all of that year. Steve, are you getting a reviewer's copy of Frosthaven or backing it on Kickstarter? Both. I backed it on Kickstarter, and then subsequently found out that I was getting a copy for designing a scenario in there. Because Rach and I had designed, well, we are in the process of designing a scenario for it.
You more than me.
You came up with the idea for it. I think it's going to be good, I think. It's one that we would enjoy playing. So we're getting a contributor's copy, I think. Best way of putting it. But we've got a friend that loves Gloomhaven and the prototype, at least, to Frosthaven. So he's going to have the copy that I originally backed for. What is your favourite two-player game? Exclusively two-player game? Because just in general, I don't know, averaging out, our favourite game between us is probably Gloomhaven, isn't it?
Well, I guess if you only look at two-player
if you look at two-player only, this is a topic that I always put in the, unless it's one without me noticing in the most recent poll, I always put it in the top 10s, and it never gets that high. Maybe it's because that topic's been extensively covered by other people. But I don't know. Targi comes to mind, feeling really good. Do you remember Targi?
What's your favourite?
I don't know about favourites. That's what immediately came to me, but I don't like. This is what
I'm
this is
looking
what
at it
calls
right
for
now. The box.
there's loads over there of. It's not pronounced limes, is it? But
limbs.
Yeah, that's a really good two-player game.
Limes.
But I can't find I found the advanced search now. We're gonna get. This will spoil the top 10 if it ever happens.
When you immediately say two-player only game, the first game that comes to mind is Patchwork.
Yeah, Patchwork.
Every time. So does that mean it's your favourite?
Foothills, I absolutely love the two-player only Snowdonia spin-off. Does it count though? Because some two-player games have got like a solo variant in. They're two-player only designed, but then they add a solo variant to it. Like there's a solo. I think there's a Clockwork AI for Patchwork, I think, but that's still a two-player game, right?
I guess you could. I'm going to say yes.
What about so we can put 2 to 2 and exact only games that play only two players. So this might exclude some that would have like a solo thing on, but if it's like an unofficial solo variant,
Lost Cities,
then that doesn't count. Lost Cities is great, but I would say probably I'd put Patchwork higher. Jaipur is fantastic.
Oh yeah, good one.
I don't know if I'd put that above Patchwork, though. Because they don't tend to... I'm sure that there's something big that I'm not thinking of. That they tend to be the smaller games, right? Because I suppose bigger games, ones I've scrolled past, like Star Wars Armada and Twilight Struggle and stuff, we're not really bothered about fighting each other at all. So that gets dismissed from us. I loved All Creatures Big and Small, Agricola two-player only. Rach not a big fan of Agricola. I would like to go through that as a proper top 10 and like filter out all of the ones that we've got. The collection needs updating to do that, which is another big thing all in itself. But yeah, the game Face to Face is great. Two-player only version of the game where you play cards to other people's piles, but you can only help them. Like the game's a game where like you've got two piles of numbers going up and two piles going down, and you're trying to play all of your cards to these piles, obviously getting yourself in a heap. But yeah, in Face to Face, I think you only draw back your hand to full if you play a card on the other player's piles. But the rule is you have to help them, so it's not like you can play a card and mess them up. So you've got to figure out how can you help them the least, so you can get all the cards back and keep playing yourself. That's a really good two-player only one. Really good. It's usually variations, isn't it? On But mind you, Jaipur and Patchwork are completely their own thing. I need to get back to the chat over here. Look at the YouTube screen's kind of just played us at 10 times speed, catching up on all the time I've been tabbed out of the chat screen. Any Kickstarters games coming in the post soon? There are. I don't think Kickstarters. The Kickstarters are a way off, I think, of things that I've backed, like role player adventures, like those magic jigsaw puzzles. There's something else as well that I think I've backed. But for games coming in the post soon, Dungeon Drop just got here. And if you saw me do the Kickstarter video for that when it was in prototype, where got a load of cubes in a box, drop them down, and
play the game.
Instant dungeon. You make rooms by like putting invisible lines across the cubes, and what's inside the room you made you get, whether it's gold or chests or enemies to fight and stuff. So that's just come. We've got an expansion the latest expansion for Dominion. There's a few that I'm not sure if they're coming yet. The kind of requests that I've put in, because I haven't really been asking for stuff while I've been not able to make proper playthroughs. Yeah, I thought ease up on the accepting of things. But I'm gonna mispronounce like anything now. The latest board and dice games. Yeah, the David Tortzi, the one with the obelisk in the middle. Obelisk rather than obelisk. Here we go. It took long enough to get Teotihuacan down. Here are two now, Rach. Maybe I'll leave it for you.
We couldn't say obelisk, so
I'll leave it for you to say.
I'm not hopeful.
Well, there's another Teotihuacan expansion next year. I'm missing out on all of this stuff. There's another. I forgot to tell you. There's another Escape Tales this year, by the way. So they are Shadow of the Obelisk. I can pronounce that. Tawan Tinsuyu, the Inca Empire,
somebody
and
will correct
Tekenu, Obelisk of the Sun. They are somewhere in the postal system, or about to be in the postal system. So yeah, I need to actually double check on when they're arriving to see whether to put them in the September vote, because that's coming up soon. But yeah, that'll be a good one coming up. We've got not a brand new release, but we've got Thunderstone Quest, and we only played setting it up and kind of organising the box took most of the time rather than playing it. But I'm really excited to do more of that. Kickstarters, there is next week. Streets is on Kickstarter, and there's an overview for that. In September, at some point, there is Cascadia, another tile laying game from Flatout Games, who did Calico. And they weren't the kind of design studio behind it, but they collaborated with Crafty Games for Dollars to Donuts, another brilliant tile laying puzzle game. So that's one to look out for a video for that as well. Pendulum as well, the latest Stonemaier game with kind of competitive real-time with Sandtimers game. That will be coming a solo playthrough probably of that. Can't really do multiplayer real-time games. Unless Rach really loves them and wants to be in the videos for them.
Spoiler alert, I'm not going to be in that video.
No. Where are we? Love your playthroughs. Thanks. What is your favourite game mechanic? I don't know. I really like real time. Is that a mechanic?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't
know if it's my favourite. I do really like them though. I really like that feeling of being under pressure. Cooperative real time.
Do you like worker placement?
Really. Yeah. Well, worker placement's the classic, isn't it? It's nice.
I don't like worker. No. Well, it's not my favourite.
Well, I do like the twist on it. I like the kind of hardcore Agricola thing where it's just the person's gone there, tough luck. You just can't have that thing anymore for the rest of the round. But I also do like the viticulture way of doing it, of having the grande worker that can override that, but just once per round if you really, really needed to go somewhere. Or the Manhattan Project Energy Empire way of doing it, which also they did in Tiny Epic Dinosaurs that we played recently, where if someone's already gone to a place, you can put 2 workers down and still go there, and the next person could put 3 workers down and still go there. So you've still got kind of ways around it, but it's still nice and restrictive. But yeah, it's not like there's loads, but real-time Suntimer games. What's it? an area that needs exploring more. Cooperative, real-time Sun Timer games.
And unfortunately for you, I'm not a big fan of them, and our friends aren't
Nope.
particularly massive fans. Well, one of our friends.
So maybe less and less fans of real-time games as we play more of them. Exclusive 2-player. Yeah, Lost Cities Patchwork. Patchwork is the one that comes to mind more. And we probably haven't played it for quite a while now.
I was thinking, if that's the first thing that comes to your head, surely that's like good contender to be your favourite.
Targi came into my eyeline, but I wonder if that's just because it's the one that I saw first. But we have kind of got them grouped up, haven't we?
Yeah.
Apart from Biblios in the middle there, that's all Targi, Lost Cities, Patchwork, Morels, the mushroom game.
Mushrooms?
Limes?
Slimes.
It's a great little selection over there. And Jaipur is on a separate shelf, but that's because it didn't go for the square box size. I've lost this again. Exclusive 2-player. Your most anticipated games at the moment. Frosthaven, of course. That's some point next year, though, isn't it? I'm really excited about those board and dice games.
I don't know anything about them, really.
Big crunchy. I don't know that much about them. You know, it's the designer of Teotihuacan and David Turtsi together, designing a great big game to burn your brain.
David's games burn my brain.
Well, there's different levels, isn't there? Teotihuacan you get on with. And then Defense of Procyon 3. Right up there on the... Although we did... It's in prototype state, so there was a lot of, like... I don't know, like, phasing in the rules. Like, it's not like you've got all of the finished, like, thing there to help you learn it all. But, yeah, I'm really excited about... But all the things, like I say, are like things that are really far away. I'm really excited about role-player adventures. I have to keep trying to forget about it because it's still so long away. The Kickstarter only just finished. But I absolutely love role-player. And it's great that, like, you could play role-player and then take that character into role-player adventures. But just the core of going through these kind of choose-your-own-adventure things, it seems really, really cool. That's one of my favourites that I'm excited about at the moment. I don't know what's happening with the prototype for Amsterdam. It was supposed to be on the way, but there was problems getting it made, so I don't know if that's going to happen in time for the Kickstarter now. Who knows? But yeah, the Stefan Feld City Collection. I really like Bruges. Love Macau. So new versions of those and adding extra things, updating them. Really excited to see what they do. Bonfire from Stefan Feld. I played online last week on the Gaming Rules channel, and that was really fantastic. Really looking forward to that. That's a release for this year. And the two CGE ones I played as well. The Under Falling Skies, the solo game. Really, really enjoyed that. And I can't remember. It's the Lost Ruins of. I know it's not Anorak. Or maybe it is, but it's spelled differently. But yeah, that was cool as well. I'm looking forward to the like, it's like a new release list, isn't it, rather than a big Essen list, because there isn't an Essen. Well, there's a digital Essen, but it's not like there is a place you can go where all these games are going to release. Looking forward to ploughing through that and seeing all the things that usually we would be roaming around hunting these stalls out. Just get in touch and see things digitally instead.
Hi, Rabbi.
Steve, have the number of views on your YouTube videos increased more than usual during lockdown? Yeah, on some things, but it's kind of, yeah, I'd say amplified a bit. Not massively, like things have taken off.
No.
But yeah, it's a shame really, because it would be the perfect time to make loads more videos and do live stuff. And I've ended up getting some equipment to try and do that, but during the lockdown, we're still both at work, so there was no like more time to make stuff. But definitely there was definitely more people at the live Q&As, I think, since the lockdown than there were before. But we did have a big gap of not doing any. I don't know. I don't think it's a massive difference, but it's like everything's just kind of a gradual snowballing increase.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah.
Need a great big spy. Get some kind of scoop on Frosthaven, or like the latest, the next Vital Lacerda game. There is a called Mercado de Lisboa. There's a smaller Vital Lacerda game. I don't think it's like Lisboa, but yeah, that's coming to Kickstarter, or is on Kickstarter, with another designer as well. Martin, enjoyed your solo playthrough with Noosefjord. I really enjoyed that as well. I'd kind of skipped on Noosefjord solo when we first played it, and I shouldn't have because it's brilliant. Is it worth buying for solo only? I think if it's still in kind of, well, I'm not sure where you are, but in the UK at least, I'm pretty sure the price got shockingly low. I don't know if it's still like that. I'm just checking out board game prices. Oh no, it's gone back up now. There was a time when it was like 20 quid a couple of months ago, and say for that, absolutely, no matter what mode you're playing it for, 20 quid is crazy for Noosefjord. But for full price game, I don't know. You are still getting you're getting pretty much all of the experience in solo only. Only you can decide that. But yeah, I suppose there is a difference in kind of the turn order of stuff, and you're missing out on not being able to buy the other player's shares and things. But the core of the game of buying of trying to work out which configuration of buildings you're buying and things like that, that is still there. Chris, hi, good to catch you live as well. Kind of. we need another screen. We need just a great big Zoom chat. What's on your shelf of shame? Way too many
Room
games.
of shame.
Yeah, there's like a bookcase of shame. Of just there's no time to do all of this. The time when I'm able to like if I'm able to like do this for more hours, then that will not be such a bookcase anymore. But there's a lot of stuff on there. Pretty much all the stuff that I just mentioned. A lot of those are played actually. They're not like completely unplayed things. I think the werewolf game that we got, Armata Strigori from Last Essen, that's still unplayed. And
I keep looking at that.
Yeah, really intrigued because I really don't know what it's like. But there's some Planet is up there. That's like a game where it's like a tile laying game, but you're making a planet out of it. So it's got this 3D planet with magnets that you put the tiles onto. That's really cool. We need to do Hero Realms, do Arial, do.
I thought we played Ariel.
Yeah, we did play that.
Yeah, we did play that.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm kind of getting them.
We didn't play the other ones.
I'm getting them crossed over with between games that we've. And I've played Hero Realms. Yeah, we need to play multiplayer though to catch on. There's too much, unfortunately, but it's just because like, despite I've definitely done a much better job in the last year, I think, of curbing new things coming in, just through being like, I'm not gonna have time to do it for ages. And I feel terrible for everything that I don't get to make straight away. But yeah, too many games. Paul, for each of you, tell us the game you play, which one of you dominates the other. Well, I do tend to win a lot of the...
I don't think I dominate any game.
Race games you do, usually. Usually race games are over while I'm still messing about getting things going. And deck builders sometimes for that. It depends how it goes, because deck builders, I'm a lot more concerned usually with just being able to draw my own deck.
You'll buy or get all the cards that let you draw more cards. So then what tends to happen, and this is like Dominion now we're thinking about mainly, is Tom will get all the cards that have like draw more cards, and then I have to sit there for 5 minutes every turn while Tom's draw another card, draw another card, draw another card, and then like sometimes by the end of it you haven't really got that much. That like not you haven't got that many resources. It's like pointless.
It's like sometimes and Mystic Vale as well. Sometimes that gives you a massive turn where you can get a ridiculous amount of stuff done, and then other times, yeah, I've completely wasted my time or like I'm getting towards doing something, but by the time that anything's happening, you've already like earned all the points and ended the game. That's what you're better at. I'm better at the games you don't end up really liking.
And I think like that's not necessarily true, because I think a lot of the games in my top 10 are games that I don't win.
Yeah. What kind of game would it be?
It's hard to say because we don't really go back and play games again. So like we can't really say specific games. We could say a type of game.
Yeah, especially not now. And I'd say that's kind of that influences the top 10s and favourites and stuff more, I think, because some of these games, even from like 2 or 3 years ago, where like we had more time, the further back you go, the more time we had to be playing games, so they kind of stick in your mind more. I don't know if there's a particular kind. Vital Lacerda games.
You dominate everyone.
Yeah. Mine's work the same.
Yeah.
I've got the key to it.
True.
But yeah, I don't know about. We don't tend to like play at conventions and stuff, do we? So it's a kind of very insulated thing of playing against each other.
It tends to be so like when we play with like our group of friends, that Tom's sort of like on his own little. He's playing with himself really, and then me and myself and the other two, our two friends, we're playing against each other.
But I've usually played the games.
It is just a case of
like,
you just better at the game.
I've usually played them
games.
before and a load of other times. But yeah. That's just being the teacher. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Streets. It's well, you have to see in the video. But it's the absolutely adore Villagers, and it's the same designer and publisher and team and everything behind Villagers. So yeah, Tuesday that is.
Hi, Ushman.
Matt, have you played Habitats? Sounds familiar.
No, we
haven't played. I don't think we have played Habitats.
Okay.
That's a.
Am I thinking of something else?
Is that a Steve Finn game? I'm sure. Oh no, Habitats.
Yeah,
yes, it's the tile laying game, isn't it? Yeah, Habitats, absolutely fantastic. We've got the little XL mini expansion that we haven't played it with yet, but yeah, I absolutely love that.
I think
I'd
we
really
got
like
it
to do a playthrough of that.
because we got it, wasn't it? Because you'd seen Rado say how good it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought it. I think the Essen before last, and we played it loads. And then I got the new expansion for it. The Essen just gone, but yeah, it's so hard to find the time to go back. But it's
2 to 5 players.
It didn't really. I suppose we haven't played Habitats very many times, but re-implemented by Nova Luna. I didn't think they were that similar, but I suppose yeah, you are laying them out in a similar way, aren't you? That's surprising. That? Well, that's something to say. And what's it? Do you have a healthy credit score?
Well, I don't. Is that any of your business?
Pretty healthy.
I'm fine, Rabbi. I hope you are too. Looking forward to going back to school. My old pupils coming to message me.
Yeah, surely everyone's looking forward to going back to school. I disagree with those posters. I wouldn't have been keen to go back to school. Steve, will you be going away somewhere instead of going to Essen this year? Probably not.
No.
Well, Rachel's would probably have been at school.
Yeah, it would.
This Essen anyway.
Well,
so
Essen as well was. Or have I looked at next year's predicted Essen? So I'm pretty sure that it was either this Essen or if they've predicted when Essen might be next year, it's like a week early or even again. It's like extra early. Yeah,
Essen doesn't usually. It did about 3 years ago, I think.
For us to go together, it needs to be like bang on the end of October, like because the half term in England is right at the end of October. Yeah. But we haven't really got any other plans to go anywhere else, have we?
No. Like in a way, in terms of like money and stuff, it's a relief not having to find the money for the hotels and the travel and stuff. But yeah, it's not going towards anything else yet.
No.
We're trying to save up, so probably won't be going anywhere else. Do you like the end slice of bread that's mostly crust? No, I don't like it at all.
Only when it's toasted.
I don't really like crust in general. I don't dislike it enough to have to cut the whole thing off. But
always leaves the corner.
Who wants crust?
Always leaves the corners.
That's mostly crust, the corner. Nobody wants all of that.
Always leaves the corner.
No, message retracted.
Oh, he said he was going to come and see me.
Okay. Mayo or ketchup? Ketchup, definitely. Although
it depends. Like for me, because you like mayo in a sandwich, very specifically with chicken.
Yeah, I like BLTs. Have got mayo on them, I think.
But you wouldn't have it as like a condiment to a meal.
No.
Whereas
I
it
don't.
Depends. I like mayo, but I like salad cream more than mayo.
Yeah, I don't really like many foods and many configurations of those foods. Like the idea of dipping chips in mayo.
I like salad cream. I like the tang of salad
But ketchup,
cream.
That's what it was made for, right? Ketchup makes everything taste better to the point where you think you probably like the taste of ketchup rather than the taste of all of these different foods. What's each of your favourite game that the other does not like? This is a top 10 that's coming up. I don't know what the most extreme examples of these things are. Because we have got...
It's hard because like Tom will probably... I don't have a very good memory, so I can't remember like all the games that Tom didn't like.
But in terms of like favourite game that the other doesn't like, I'd say Shipyard is one of my favourite games, and you don't really like it at all. Whereas like I don't think there's one of your favourite games that I didn't like. Because there's kind of like Augustus comes up as like one we disagree on, but it's kind of like I like Augustus, but Rach loves Augustus to an extreme degree. I don't think there's one particularly that you really, really like that I like. There's crossover in our top 10s. Maybe not exactly for the same reasons.
Yeah, we joke
but...
about because we're thinking like Dark Souls game.
Yeah, there's a few games where
Arkham Horror.
I don't feel like I really.
They're not
played.
my favourite game, but these are like examples of games that I don't mind.
Where you've enjoyed them and I've hated them.
Like things that usually games that have got random elements. So like, for example, the Chaos Bag in Arkham Horror, I don't mind that, so I enjoy those games. Whereas you could live without that.
Yeah, I think it spoils the game completely. Especially the token that's like auto fail. Anything in a game where it's like that. It's like in Gloomhaven, the miss still lets everything else that you planned for happen. It still messes you up. Still needs you to recalculate and might cause you to lose. But if you were like pushing enemies and applying effects and stuff that were vital, all of that still happens. I think it's completely pointless to have a thing that just says, "Oh, all that thing that you all just spent 10 minutes planning for and cooperating and stuff," and just based on nothing."
Surprisingly, like I deal with that quite well because it annoys you, and I would have thought it would have annoyed me. But playing those games, it doesn't. I'm just like, okay, next turn then, which surprises me.
Yeah, we're more forgiving of those type of games.
Yeah. It's the same for like dice rolls as well. Like if things rely on dice rolls, but there isn't a lot of dice manipulation, you don't like those either, do you?
No.
Anything that spoils, like you just said, your turn, or things or games that have got like events that just totally mess you up for no reason, like random events that you don't know are coming.
Yeah, and with no time to plan for any of it.
Whereas I
there's
can put up a little bit better with random.
Yeah, those games can do events really well, but they usually kind of warn you this thing is going to happen soon, or give you knowledge that like there's a risk of this thing happening. But yeah, I just don't like being messed about. I like being ruled by randomness. Yeah, I don't know what your favourite game that I don't like would be. I've had games that you had. You like Takenoko. I really didn't like Takenoko, but it's kind of going back years now.
But then, like, I think a few years later, I played it after playing a lot of other games, and I didn't enjoy it as much.
No. Yeah, but that was down to randomness as well.
What you like changes.
Yeah, I think that was down to randomness and objectives. But it's been years since we even had Takenoko, so it's hard to talk about. That's going through some of my notes for the top 10 games we disagree on. Yeah, that's Shipyard would be mine, I think. Do you get asked to playtest games? Been asked sometimes, and I don't think that we know enough. Sometimes we end up doing that when we do Kickstarter prototypes, because just from playing it, we'll have input and concerns, and sometimes they've been like used in the final games, not massively often. And then there's been times as well where they've been like, "Oh yeah, that's like that for this reason," and it was really obvious and I hadn't thought of it. But yeah, as like exclusively for playtesting, we don't really.
I think as well, like I feel like you'd have to put a lot of time in to really do it properly, and we just don't.
Yeah,
have
and
the
probably
time.
Repeat play as well. Yeah. But we don't really. It's repeat play's really hard to like get to do at the moment. Well, I say at the moment for a long time really, but we have done a little bit. Having a good knowledge of game mechanics, would this mean you can design the perfect game? You'd think so. It'd be good if I could, wouldn't it? But I've got no. I wouldn't say that I actively don't want to do it. It seems very hard and time-consuming to design a game, especially with the playtesting and balancing of it, and how you even begin to. Because really, it's not even about the maths and whether things balance out. It's about whether it feels balanced to players, and can be such a nebulous thing. That I don't know how people do it when the games come out feeling all perfectly balanced. But I haven't really got like an urgent idea for a game either.
No.
There've been like themes that I'd like to see more games themed around music. I'd like to see games themed around wrestling, where like maybe you're managing some wrestlers or running a wrestling promotion or something.
I like to say teaching games set in a school, trying to be the best. Or even being a child and you're like trying to be like the naughtiest child or something, or the cleverest child.
There was a new topic as well that I thought of it the other day and I can't remember it now. I was really excited for what it was. They need to do the Crystal Maze game again. It'll probably have Richard Ayoade in it now. And good as he is, he's not Richard O'Brien, is he? Any views on the new Stefan Feld implementations of his old games? We talked about this a little bit. Like, I don't know the specifics of what's been changed because we know Bruges and Macau pretty well, and I know that the playthroughs of Hamburg out there now. I haven't watched them yet, and we like it's still up in the air whether an Amsterdam prototype is going to be ready and sent to me in time to make a video for it. So stuff's going to come when they come out in retail, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so I haven't got specific thoughts about what's been changed and stuff because I don't really know. But the idea just in general of these things coming back to Kickstarter, I think is fantastic. It's kind of like I can understand the downside of like a purist kind of thing of like if you wanted Bruges and Macau, they aren't Bruges and Macau. Like they aren't. Even if they're just rethemes, that would be a thing making it not those games. But yeah, the games have been tweaked. Like I don't know how massively, but enough to mention it. So yeah, I can understand that kind of downside. But also, I feel like Stefan Feld knows exactly what he's doing in terms of messing around with his own games, and so I'm excited to see what's been hopefully improved. And I know that Rado tweeted, I'm pretty sure, that Hamburg, he's not going back to Bruges now after playing Hamburg, which is a pretty good endorsement. I'm excited to see about that because Bruges is one that I really like, but it does have the element of it can be a very interactive game. A lot of negative interaction of between the players in that, depending on who you're playing it with. So, like, I wonder if that's changed. I don't know, but Macau's one of the best ones. Yeah. So and on one level, you're just glad that it's out there again. That's like when these things got playthroughs. I think they both got playthroughs having been voted for by my backers or my patrons, and both times, and like a load of games that end up winning the votes, you're like, I'm really excited to be showing you this game and showing it off in action and stuff. But then I do have to tell you that you can't get hold of it for any amount of money, really. Yeah. Like, even when I got Macau about 4 years ago, I think, and even then I had to get it from, I think it was a Dutch web store, and then I had to, thankfully, there was like paste-ups on Board Game Geek that were actually better because the cards were all kind of heavy on the text in Macau, and these paste-ups were just like symbols and stuff. So, like, even if the games are a bit different and the settings changed and the art's changed and stuff, the fact that you're even able to get hold of them again, that's a massive plus. I know there's like, questions of use of Kickstarter and the price of them and stuff. I don't know about the specifics of that, but the main thing for me is just amazing Stefan Feld games are going to be available again, even if they've been tweaked a little bit. Were Ross and Rachel on a break? They were absolutely 100% on a break, but Ross was still in the wrong.
I would agree.
Both people can be in the wrong, right? That's the whole thing. That's the reason why it's still a debate. But it's not really a debate. They're both in the wrong. Ross is more in the wrong. But
yeah, Ross is not my favourite.
Poor Ross gets a bad rap.
He does.
Dawn of Peacemakers, better solo or with other players? I haven't played it solo. Have I? I did play it in the beginning solo, I think.
Did you?
A bit. So I would say better with other players, just because there's other people doing stuff with you. But still works out as a fantastic co-op game.
Yeah.
I'd imagine. Are you just playing two characters in the solo version? I can't remember now. That was a couple of years ago. That's another one that I'd love to get back to. Oh, it's not there anymore. There it is. It used to be above Gloomhaven. But yeah, that's another one that I'd like to get back to. And because we played a good chunk, we played more than half of the campaign in it, but it just gets to the point where, okay, something else is now at its deadline and you need to do something else, and it all just gets lost in the kind of tidal wave of new stuff. But I would still evangelize about trying out Dawn of Peacemakers. It's fantastic. Co-op game where you try to stop people go to war. It's brilliant.
Perfect.
And your animals. Paul? Hi, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
He's popped in. He might have popped out already, but watch back and see that. Hi, Paul. What are your most played gaming apps? Mystic Vale. Loads of Mystic Vale.
Loads of that, haven't you?
Yeah, in terms of like adaptations of actual board games, that's partly. It was partly to do with like I just got it anyway because it was in the Steam sale. When was the Steam sale? July? June? I think it was like June, something like that. But yeah, I bought Mystic Vale on Steam from that, and a couple of other ones that were on sale as well. Just thought I'd like to give these a try, and I do love Mystic Vale. I think it was around the time as well of something spurred me on to get Edge of Darkness, which I'd never played, which is kind of big Euro game with card crafting in it. And then playing that, and I really enjoyed Edge of Darkness. We need to play it some more. Having played that, I then thought, well, why don't we have Mystic Vale anymore? And got all of Mystic Vale, and the kind of combination of buying the Steam adaptation and then breaking my shoulder and not being able to even lift the massive Mystic Vale box kind of made it a perfect thing for me playing a load of Mystic Vale. And I've played, I don't remember how many hours, significant number of hours in it, to the point where kind of the first 3 expansions and the base game cards from Mystic Vale I could probably do without when we play it for real. And we have played it for real once, and I wanted to kind of leave as many of them out as possible because I've seen them a million times. But yeah, loads of Mystic Vale. And in the last couple of weeks, it's not an adaptation, but it's definitely a digital board game, is Slay the Spire. Got back into that again. It's been a year clean of not being addicted to that. But another thing of like, well, if I'm making these digital board game videos, Slay the Spire is probably the best one, although it's not an adaptation. I should do Slay the Spire, and well, before I make a video, I should practice it a little bit, and that's just turned into just playing it repeatedly again, and just trying to get better in it. Though, why can't I get better at it? Like I can get to the end, I can get to it, unlock ascension modes and stuff, and yeah, I'm trying to. I've
started the Gloomhaven.
Oh yeah, you've got the Gloomhaven digital version. You're going
and
through
the Guildmaster.
One
of
of
our friends plays it as well. He's got further than me.
Yeah, and multiplayer's coming soon.
Looking forward to multiplayer. Looking forward to the eventually like the full scenario set coming.
Roll for the Galaxy's just come out.
Is it?
Yeah, it's just come out of beta. What? I think I've downloaded. No, I played a bit of Roll for the Galaxy in the beta, but Through the Ages is a fantastic digital adaptation, especially because it's a game that we don't like multiplayer. It's got too much messing with each other in it, but I don't mind about that in a game that I'm playing against a tablet. I've never really done much online play. We did it with like Yukata and stuff like that back in the day, but I tend to kind of have them as solo AI opponents. But yeah, Mystic Vale and Slay the Spire and Monster Train. I've only played one kind of run of it, which was like an hour and a half just for that one run. I think because I've got all those Slay the Spire skills. But that was a cool like Slay the Spire kind of game where the enemies are on like 3 levels and they move up bit by bit, and you get animals out to fight against them. That was really cool. I've lost it. How's the injury? The injury is getting better now. It's generally not hurting.
You sometimes do exercises, don't you, every day?
Yeah, like in like I have to like lift my arm and stuff now, and it's been like that for almost 2 weeks. So when I started doing that, even kind of stretching my arm straight out was like not a struggle, but it hurt. It felt strange because it had pretty much been locked in that position for ages. But yeah, I've gotten to the point where it's kind of more aching than anything else. It's not. I don't think it's like pain anymore. Like I don't really need. I haven't had painkillers for a few days now, I don't think. And so that's like a good sign. I still can't lift anything. Still got another couple of weeks.
No, the sling comes off Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. Stop wearing the sling, but. That's a little worry that the sling is good for reminding you that you're not supposed to be using your arm.
It's like the sling can come off, but don't lift anything heavy.
So
what's heavy?
yeah, okay. Well, and then in a couple of weeks after that is when I talk to a doctor again, and it's a phone appointment because of COVID and everything. But hopefully, I can get a proper appointment to just double check that everything's okay. But it's gotten to the point now where I don't know when it will go up. It'll go up at some point next week. But I filmed Barron Park with its expansion as a playthrough. That was the first. I've recorded some overviews, which are easier because I'm not really reaching out for stuff as much and playing it and that. But Barron Park, I filmed a playthrough for last week. That was the first one back. We filmed our first 3 games of My City. 2 of them, unfortunately, unusable, annoyingly. But the third one is usable. So the point of that is playthroughs are possible again. So there'll be more and more of that coming, hopefully. While I'm still mostly off. Yeah. It's now gotten to the point where I can probably get a lot of it set up on my own. Just can't really move the great big tripod that the camera's on. But that's because of the big sandbag that's on it that makes it weigh a ton. Playthrough of Hamburg coming from me this Friday. You go, gaming rules on Friday.
Watch poll Friday.
And hopefully,
gaming rules.
Hopefully Amsterdam gets all sorted out. Repro wrestling games. Have you played Bucket or Face to the Mat? No, Bucket sounds familiar. There is. Are these the RPGs? There was an RPG wrestling game that's that's a card game. Like I think the ones that this one just solo, and it's a bag building game. Oh, deck, bag, or pool building. No, I don't think I've seen Bucket before. Okay, these are staying open as tabs. Bucket and Face to the Mat. I thought when I glanced at this, you were asking me about Beyond the Mat. It's a wrestling film. It's really good. I remember watching it when I was pretty young and feeling like, well, this is a lot darker than I was expecting. This is an old wrestling game. Wow. Highly detailed wrestling die and chart simulation. Contains hundreds of wrestler cards that depict fictional and historical wrestlers. Oh, cool. Further supported by additional wrestler packs to add to the game. Was Mick Foley one of the wrestlers in it? If so, I get it. If not, then it's not complete enough. Oh, and there's like a 20th anniversary edition. Oh, is this why? So 20th anniversary would be now, right? So it's had a new edition, I guess. Oh, that was last year. Pre-order open. We'll keep these open now. Stop just browsing the internet while we're doing this. But do you guys play any role-playing games? Would you recommend any solo RPGs? I've never played a solo RPG. We've played. Was it D&D or Pathfinder?
We played D&D.
It was D&D, wasn't it?
For a few times.
Yeah, it was about 2 or 3 sessions. We were the players. Our friend, with a couple more players.
Yeah,
and our friend
was
the dungeon master.
Yes.
I remember really liking it. I think it was just one of those things of getting those people to come every time.
I think it's like, I don't know. It's hard to if you're with a load of people that stay in character as well, it's probably more fun.
Yeah, that's
thing. Like we weren't really
and
being the characters.
But it's like a new thing.
Yeah, it's like the first time.
Yeah, we've never really done that kind of role play stuff, so it's hard to kind of not take it seriously, but take the fact that you're role playing seriously.
Yeah.
And not just because outside, from seeing in Community. Like Jeff says, it's hard to know if anyone's joking because everything about this game is silly. But yeah, that's seeing past that is what's so good about it, isn't it? See Xenia Rubinos behind you. Black Terry Cat by Xenia Rubinos. You listened to it based on my recommendation. It's pretty good. Thanks, Kelly. I really love that album. It's not from last year, but my best discovery of last year. Not that I discover that many albums these days, but no. I love it. It's one of my favourites now. Maybe it should have been in the top 10 albums. It's not better than Nevermind, though. Crunchy or creamy peanut butter? I don't like peanut butter.
Crunchy every time.
So none for me.
It's got to have a crunch.
I'll give a vote for creamy to balance it out. Face to the Mat is like a sports simulation game, like Stratomatic Baseball. I haven't played Stratomatic Baseball. I have seen it and been tempted by it just because there is some kind of weird appeal to seeing all of these kind of charts and spreadsheets laid out. I don't know if they've got any pictures for that happening in Face to the Mat. Oh, we see someone's player sheet and all of their all of their writing and stuff for it. But I do that's kind of that's the thing that that's the thing that I wish I would have had. Like in 2000, I'd have been like 11. That would have been like the ideal thing for me to have there. Just sat with a load of charts and writing down loads of like different leagues and stuff. I used to do that kind of thing, but not in an actual game framework. I have to stop just looking through Face to the Mat. Paul's got a head off. Got rulebooks to edit. Food. They're good reasons. F1 to watch. To watch that? This is more exciting. This is more exciting and adrenaline filled than F1. They're just going to go around in circles.
Bye, Paul.
Steve, did Tom do Rachel's nails? No.
No, I
she doesn't use
had
me.
The
I would
same
be
nail
excellent.
artist for years. Her name is Kat. She her little studio is called Dollface Boutique. There we go. I've even given her a little shout out. No, he didn't do my nails.
They were watermelons
They
until
were
a few days ago.
watermelons.
You missed
They
out on the
were,
watermelon
yeah,
nails.
They were.
What would be your weapon of choice to take into a medieval battle? Does it could be a medieval weapon, or can you take like a disintegration ray?
Can we go into the future and bring something back?
We've just been we've until the last week or so we've been playing Saints Row 4 cooperatively. So I'm just thinking of futuristic weapons from that, like disintegration rays, the dubstep gun, black hole gun. Yeah, be crazy things like that. It would be surely it would be a mace, or it would be double broadswords. Surely, like in this fantasy, I'm trained enough to use 2 broadswords, right?
Crossbow or a bow. Stay far away. Keep you
deflected by the 2 broadswords.
Snipe them.
A pen mightier than a sword. Yep.
You could take a pen into a medieval battle.
Oh, for the medieval battle, I thought that was just a separate point.
I think you would very quickly be defeated.
That was me. After the Facebook live session of Face to the Mat, I will check it out. I'm very intrigued by this now, and especially like since it's got this new version. And bucket's a pretty recent thing as well, because the only thing I've seen before are I think it's kind of just wrestling against each other, which Face to the Mat does seem like it is. But the only other one is really that kind of, is it like a rock paper scissors kind of WWE game? Which, they've got the characters and stuff, haven't they? I don't really know the new ones very well, but they've got like, I think John Cena was in that game and stuff. But it was basically like a card game, rock paper scissors, I think, which pretty cool. But I'd like a big thing where you're involved in like making storylines and stuff. There was an RPG that I'd seen where like, again, I don't think that we could really take it seriously and get into the role playing of it, but it was where like instead of like a game master, the game master is like the commentator of the wrestling show, so they're kind of dictating some of the things that are happening, and you're kind of commentating on your like wrestling match as well to say what you're doing and stuff.
Imagine role playing.
You have to cut promos and stuff. Yeah, it's like I really like the idea of it, but I feel like the reality of it's why I've never ended up buying whatever that game was called. I have got actually on my reminders on my phone. I see it every single time that wrestling game is my top reminder. That is Book It. That's Book It. Oh, so this was a post about Book It before it came out. So maybe this isn't okay then. This isn't the RPG I was thinking of then. This is an actual card game. I thought it was a reminder for the RPG. I've lost that then. That's lost to the ages, whatever that was. That seemed pretty cool. I think, was it Shut Up and Sit Down did a playthrough for it? I think that's where I saw it. It was some time ago now. But yeah, there's some kind of wrestling RPG that seemed cool. Have you ever played video games?
Every day.
Pretty much, yeah.
Every day.
Definitely like, not as much as I used to. But there was definitely kind of a lull in kind of when I played loads of solo games and was playing loads of board games. There was definitely a time where my interest pretty much dropped off in video games. And I do think in general, when you look at the stuff that's being released generally,
I would say
all of the big stuff, I feel like it gets more and more boring. And that's kind of like, can't be that much of an age thing, can it? I'm not that old. But yeah, I think that's kind of, but like in a lot of kind of industries, the need to want to make all of the money in the world overrides anyone's kind of creativity and innovation and there are definitely kind of exceptions to the rule, but video games, it's just kind of sequels and copy and paste the last thing and tweak a few things to make the next thing out. There isn't really anything that's kind of like, wow, that's different, apart from kind of indie studios. But then indie studios can also be massive studios that are worth a load of money. I don't know. It's all strange. There's a game where you play like a security... No, you don't play... you play like a cleaner at a TV studio where like the people are all gone and you need to like man the desk for a news broadcast, and the game is you choosing what's going on the news show and you like altering the narrative of what people are seeing by switching between all of this stuff, whether to show this riot and this rebellion or whether to like suppress it and stuff like that. I can't remember what that's called. But that seems like that's a fantastic idea. But it has to be these tiny things that stay in early access for ages. But yeah, we play loads of video games. What are we playing lately? What are you playing now, Rach? I can't remember. Which video game are you in the middle of?
I was playing Lost Odyssey.
Oh yeah, Lost Odyssey. One of the best JRPG games ever on the Xbox 360.
You played Horizon Zero Dawn for about 3 hours.
That's boring.
Fell off a cliff.
Yep. Shouldn't let you fall off
Got
cliffs.
so angry. Never played it again.
No, I played it again after that. The boredom overrode the frustration.
You tried Far Cry?
Yep, bored.
At
least you can try these things and refund them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we play a lot of video games. We played League of Legends for ages. For years and years. That was like the main... Everything else was every other video game was a little diversion, and we mainly played League of Legends. But yeah, problems with that. Gallerist, best player count worth buying for solo only. I don't know. It's a really expensive game, isn't it? It's like 80 quid or something like that. So I don't know. I can't really apply. It's up to you whether it's worth that amount of money. But in terms of if you were going to buy it and you could only play it solo, I've only played it multiplayer 3 times, probably. I've played it solo about 20 times. I played it so much when I first got it, and I think only time has stopped the amount that I'm playing it now. So yeah, for me anyway, it's my favourite solo Lacerda, with the caveat that Kanban I haven't played solo yet. With his new version that's coming, his new variant, I played it with like it's a great variant, but a user created one. But for me, yeah, I think the Gallerist would be fine solo only. But it's up to you. Check the playthrough out. I did a solo playthrough for it. What board game surprised you the most by being really amazing when you thought it would be bad? I don't know. That's hard for me because generally the games that we play, I think that they're all going to be really good. Everything that I've said yes to, I think that we're going to really like it. So there aren't really many situations. It's when we've played other people's games, maybe. I don't know one that. Can you think of an example, Rich, where I thought it was going to be really bad?
There's been a few times where we've had games here where I'm thinking the opposite thing. I'm thinking the vice versa, where we were really hyped up for a game.
Yeah, there's
and it wasn't as good as what we thought.
And I tend to not really remember them as much. They kind of like fade away, like the things that we were really disappointed by. Like they're like the ones that stick out are kind of. Maybe they didn't fade away because it's a few years ago. Like I remember being really disappointed by Dice Forge. I was so excited for that, and it was a huge disappointment. I don't know. I can't think of like a recent kind
something
of big
else as well
disappointment.
that we were like proper down about, but we've played so many things since then. I just can't remember. I think about this every time, and I can't remember what game it is.
No. That's
really
good.
annoying.
That's good though.
Yeah.
That this disappointment
It's
kind
gone.
of gets like
It's gone.
kind of gets just kind of faded away, and you don't really remember them as much.
Worst trend boxes that won't probably fit on. Oh yeah, or overly large boxes for a game that can fit in a small box. That's the worst trend.
Yeah, I think we were thinking
Hate
about
empty
that.
space in a
I've
box.
seen on. It seems to be like a little thing that's spreading on Twitter. In American craft shops, you can buy these plastic tubs that are for photos, and they've got like a load of smaller plastic tubs inside them. And people have been using those to, instead of having all of these boxes for small games that are mostly air, just put them all in these plastic things instead and throw away all of the boxes. And yeah, I was thinking about that earlier. There are a lot of those smaller box games that inside, like say Mondrian the dice game, there's
Deck
some
of
little square
cards,
cards and there's some dice. There's some player boards. Okay, fair enough. They're a little bit bigger, but you don't really need those player boards either. Like there's a lot of games like that where
there's a lot
it's
of games
just
that have got that insert that's a bit of cardboard and then it dips in and you put the deck of cards in. There's no need for that.
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, boxes that don't fit properly on a shelf is annoying.
Yeah,
but
the games that are too wide for a Kallax. Kallax has been accepted as the universal width of a board game. Don't make them any wider than that. We had like we were saying earlier about. Well, actually, I think it was in the other video that we filmed. We were talking about Nations. That Nations is such a massive box. It does fit on a Kallax, but it is a massive, massive long box, and inside it's full of miniature cards, and there are a fair few of them, but you could fit it in a way, way smaller box if the boards folded in the middle, rather than just being these great big things. Yeah. That's one of the worst offenders, probably. But it's amazing beyond that. Yeah, I'd like to stop all of that. But like the overly large game boxes offer like visibility in shops, aren't they? They're so you notice the games. It's just a shame that there isn't another smaller box inside that for once you've bought it.
Throw away the big one.
Yes, Lost Odyssey is amazing.
Yes,
Hi, Hexy Beast.
Hi.
Steve, when you worked at CEX, were you able to borrow the video games to play at home? Kind of. I think there was like a refund policy, wasn't there? Where
if you worked
you
there,
got a discount.
You can have 2 weeks.
Yeah, you could get. I think there was a similar thing where I worked at a game shop as well.
Yeah, if you work there, you can buy a game and then you can return it within 2 weeks. Was it just exchange, or could you get like your cash back?
Yeah, I think you had like a. I can't remember. I think everybody that worked there had a kind of like
a rolling exchange,
a voucher that they would just you would just use it to buy the next thing.
Yeah, but it was for 2 weeks.
It's at least maybe it was for CX as well, but the idea at like Game Station was that like the idea is that the staff need to know about all of these games, and so although we were gamers anyway, and so we did know a fair bit. You improve your staff's knowledge if you let them buy games and then return them, because they'll get to play more of them, because the people that tend to work at those places can't afford tons and tons of games every week. Is a hot dog a sandwich? No, but I suppose technically
I would say sandwich is 2 separate pieces of bread. Well, because I don't think a bun is a sandwich, or a bap, or a cob, or whatever you want to call a roll, a bread roll. That's
not a sandwich, isn't it? A bun is a sandwich, surely.
Okay, so what are we saying constitutes as a sandwich?
I don't know. But is a hot dog not a sandwich because it's one piece of bread folded over? If you cut a hot dog all the way down, if you cut a hot dog bun all the way down the middle, is it a sandwich then?
Is it a sandwich?
I don't know. It's.
Is it not? But you can have hot sandwiches. I don't know. That's a tough question.
It's gone and eaten too quickly to worry about it.
I'm skipping that question.
Is cheese on toast a pizza?
No, because there's no sauce on there, like sauce base.
You can have pizzas without sauce.
Oh please! It's not
I wouldn't. Are you going to try Mariposas? Yes, that's one of the ones that I've submitted a request for. I think what was it? It was that. I can't remember the other games. There's some games I'm really excited about. The Role Player has got a new expansion, Fiends and Familiars. That was one of them. I can't remember. There's a few games that I'm still waiting to hear back on that next week in the vote video. The vote video probably won't be on the 1st of the month this month, because I'm waiting to hear back on whether certain games are going to be here in time to be included in the vote, or they'd have to be in the next month. But yes, hopefully Mariposas. That's a game about butterflies that is designed by Elizabeth Hargrave, who designed Wingspan. Her next big game. Yes, choose. What is your favourite between Nemo's War and Dawn of the Zeds? Haven't played Dawn of the Zeds. I played Nemo's War in, I don't think, an optimal first introduction to it. It was kind of an online play on the Gaming Rules channel of, Paul had the copy on camera and we were making decisions from like looking at it. And it's a solo game where the multiplayer mode is like splits up the roles into, okay, so you're going to read things, you decide on what these tokens get spent on, which is kind of cool, but I feel like having it in front of you and playing it just solo would be the way to experience it, really. But I haven't played Dawn of the Zeds. Is it like a similar thing? Is it a similar system? Tiny Towns does not need all of its box. No, doesn't. And Sagrada, yeah. But I think Tiny Towns maybe would get expanded enough eventually. I'm not sure. Point Salad could have fitted into a playing card box. They had loads of those, like kind of like Jaipur size boxes. It could really be. Like Jaipur has got all the lovely tokens, so that's a bad example. But yeah, a load of that size box really has just got a deck of cards inside it and could just be a really small thing. Foldable boards, yeah. Make your boards foldable, guys. What's going on? When you used to work at Game a long time ago, they encouraged us to take copies home to complete. Yeah, and it's a good thing to do for your staff, isn't it? It's got to be a good thing for morale if they can play a load of things. Is Loyang better solo or multiplayer? I have to admit, I haven't played Loyang solo. We love it multiplayer, and I know that it's always put up as an example of a great solo implementation in a game. There's kind of a grid of the cards because there's an interesting draft in at the Gates of Loyang where you have to put cards in the middle for everybody to be able to take if you want to stay in it until like you find the cards that you want. You can choose a card from your hand and a card from the middle. Is that right? I think that's right, isn't it? It's been a little while since Loyang. But in the solo game, instead of all of that stuff, there's a great big grid of cards that you buy from it instead. That seems pretty cool. But yeah, that's one that I do need to play solo. I saw Nemo's War on Paul's channel. It was good, wasn't it? I was until I kind of drifted off. I think like 3 hours is more than like my attention span can take. But I don't know how long it would be playing it for real. Brian, your message has been retracted. I don't know what it was. David, I saw you on the Bonfire playthrough. What did you think of it? I thought it was really cool. I thought it was kind of not particularly like any one of his older games, but I thought it had more of a feel of one of his older point salad-y games. Something like, although the system is very different, something like Trajan, where there's a load of different areas doing these different things and you're trying to make it all work. I thought it was really, really fantastic. But I'm always pretty keen to play a Stefan Feld game. Merlin would be one that we were disappointed by.
That is true.
But generally, Stefan Feld games are very okay. I've just spent 10 minutes researching this and I've reached a decision. Hot dog is not a sandwich, but can loosely fall under that category as bread is the container of the sausage.
True. It's a burger or a sandwich? Guess a burger is a
isn't
sandwich,
it like...
Yeah.
Have I heard it termed a sandwich? I'm pretty sure somewhere calls it
it's
like a sandwich.
Chunky beef sandwich.
Yeah. A chunky hot beef sandwich. I think Dawn of the Zeds is a better game than Nemo's War, but it's more complicated. 5 rulebooks? What's going on, Dawn of the Zeds? Oh My Goods is the best sized box.
It is a tiny box.
Oh My Goods is probably...
But like, it doesn't quite fit.
Yeah, Oh My Goods is probably the reverse because Oh My Goods is great for the base game, but then the 2 expansions, I would like it all in the same box. I've got Oh My Goods and the first expansion, was that Longsdale? And they're in the same box, but I have to have like a rubber band keeping the lid on because it's basically doubled the size of the box.
Yeah.
And then there's another expansion upstairs somewhere that I don't know where that can even go. But yeah, for the base game, it was a great size box. Have you tried the solo mode for Sanctum yet? I'm trying it out later. No, I haven't played Sanctum, and it seems pretty cool. It's like kind of Diablo, the board game. And there's a new solo version coming up for it. Maybe that will come up eventually. But yeah, Whopper sandwich. Maybe that's where I've heard it before.
Perhaps.
Is it Burger King calling them sandwiches?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they're burgers though, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't know why it's different, but it just is. It doesn't need a reason. Will you get to preview the Mandala Stones abstract game? I hope so. I got the email announcing it, and
I've seen a picture of that. It looks amazing.
Yeah, it does look beautiful.
Looks beautiful.
And yeah, it's really cool that Philip's got a design of his own as well. It's the guy from Board and Dice that we've seen at the expo many times, and Essen, you saw that one time. But yeah, it's his design that's being published now. I don't know, hopefully I'll get to preview it, or I'll do a playthrough of it when it's out. If not, I'm looking forward to it. Hot dog with mustard or ketchup? Ketchup.
Ketchup.
I don't really like mustard. Although
honey mustard is nice. If it's
when we've made burgers from scratch, it's got they've
In
got
the
mustard
burger.
and ketchup and Tabasco and stuff in the
patty,
actual burger.
In the patty.
But yeah, generally I don't have mustard on stuff. Apart from at McDonald's. That's just because you don't want to mess with that formula. There's not enough to notice that there's mustard involved in there. I'm fussy with food. Have you ever tried to learn the rules for a game and found them so difficult to understand that you gave up and got rid of the game? Yes, happened with. Was it called Martians?
Yes.
A Study of Civilization?
Yes.
A Story of Civilization.
I can't remember.
It's happened. It doesn't happen a lot, and there are games where like it just for some reason it just doesn't click, and we have to just keep going at it and going at it. And sometimes, especially if I've just bought the game myself, and then I don't feel like I'm letting someone down by getting rid of it if I've just bought it for myself. It just saves going through all of that kind of fuss and work to play something that just seems unintelligible at the moment. And, eventually, if they're good enough games, they will get like redone rulebooks. Like, usually, they'll get Paul in to sort them out. Paul Grogan's done Robinson Crusoe. He overhauled the rulebook for. He's doing it currently for the Great Big Batman game. So,
I remember looking at that rulebook.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that's on the shelf of shame, and we spent a good chunk of time with it all laid out, trying to work out what the heck we were supposed to be doing.
We have good patience as well for rulebooks, because obviously we play a lot of Kickstarters, and they come to us, in different forms of like completion of rulebooks. So when we get a completed game and the rulebook is a mess, like we just to not play that game, like. We must have struggled with that rulebook because we have a lot of patience for rulebooks. And
usually, I think that it happens for games that aren't that complicated. Like sometimes, there was a recent example of this. There's things where the rules seem to over-explain stuff, and maybe that's just because we're too we play a lot of games, and so it seems like it's over-explaining it to us. And maybe if you were new, it wouldn't seem like that. But I think for things like I don't feel like that Batman. What's it called? Batman Arkham Dudes. I don't feel when we were going through it all. I don't feel like it was a difficult game. I just didn't understand what it was trying to tell me we were supposed to be doing.
You were thinking of the Pendulum rulebook.
Oh yeah, the Pendulum rulebook. Yeah. It was emphasising
when you can play dice and when you can move dice.
Yeah.
A lot, nearly every page, every paragraph.
I can't get the tokens back in my copy of Sword and Sorcery, and it makes my shelf untidy. How do I hide the token boxes? No idea. Just shove them behind. There's plenty of room in Calaxes. You got to get a special cabinet to lay out all your Sword and Sorcery stuff. Are you reading a book at the moment? I'm reading The Mist by Stephen King. I'm reading a short story rather than the whole Skeleton Crew book. I'm kind of in the middle of a massive. I've only read Stephen King books for about 3 months now or something. I'm reading the Dark Tower books, but I found a website that told me that there were a lot more books related to the Dark Tower than the 8 Dark Tower books. So I've read all of them on that list. There's been a lot of pages. I've read The Stand and It. They were like 1,200 pages. But yeah, it's getting to the point now where The Mist is the last thing. The Mist short story is the last thing I need to read before I get back to, is it The Wind Through the Keyhole? The kind of extra Dark Tower book that slots in the middle of them. And then it's straight through to 5, 6, 7, I think. I can't wait. And some of these, like Black House and Insomnia and stuff, some of the ways that these relate to the Dark Tower have been beautiful. Rach, what are you reading?
Midnight Dawn. Oh, yeah. Midnight Sun.
Midnight Dawn.
I don't know. Midnight something. The Twilight book.
Twilight from the boys' perspective book. And that's quite a big one. That's
massive.
Quite a chunk. Where are we now? I Feast for Odin on the way. I was watching Tom Vassel's review for the Norwegians expansion. He said it was okay and got slated because they thought it would be better. Because they thought it should be rated better. I think it should be rated better. I thought it was much better than okay. I think it's like many expansions really that don't kind of fundamentally change all sorts of stuff. I don't think Norwegians added too many steps to set up, but it added a massive pool of choice to it. And especially with like the variable player boards based on your count, it did have some of that already. But yeah, I thought it was a massive improvement to something that I already thought was fantastic. So I would disagree on it just being okay. Hey, Tom does Tom. That Tom, I wasn't talking about myself in the third person. Then Spirit Island in an afternoon was tripping over Pandora for multiple players. Yeah, sometimes games just get you, and maybe the rulebook isn't even that bad. Trying to decide whether to get Nemesis. I haven't played it. I think it's one versus many, isn't it? We don't really play those type of games, but yeah, I hear people raving about it, but no, I haven't played it myself. Would you be interested in Codex Naturalis? I haven't seen anything about it, but oh, it looks nice. I'm sure Bombix usually makes stuff that I'm interested in. Oh, they made Takenoko and Abyss and stuff. Maybe they've made I can't think of what game it is, but yeah, it looks very nice. There isn't very much about it on Board Game Geek. It's pretty bare bones on here, but yeah, I'm keen. I've looked at the Queen Game City collection. I'm very excited about it. I've talked about it a fair bit earlier on, but yeah, I don't really know specifically what they've changed, but I'm really excited to find out. I was going to be doing a video for Amsterdam, still might be. It's all a bit in the air of whether prototypes will be ready in time, because it's on now and there still isn't a prototype ready. But yeah, I'm very, very excited. Macau especially, one of the best Stephen Feld games. Is Midnight Sun out? I read the leak around 10 years ago, but it wasn't complete.
Yes, it is out. That's what I am reading.
Is it the same as the leak?
I don't know if the leak was the whole story. I'm not sure. I didn't read the leak, but it is that she basically wrote. She's done that now. Yeah, I don't know. I'm 600 pages in.
How many pages is it?
It's over 700. It's like double the length of Twilight, so his perspective is double the length of her perspective, but it's like goes into like his past as well. Yeah, it's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right.
That's a lot of pages to go through for it's all right.
Yeah, I want to read it, but I wouldn't say I'm like.
Is it just not as good? Is it just not as good as the Twilight books,
I don't know,
or have you changed?
I wonder if I read the Twilight books, would they be amazing like 10 years ago?
Yeah, that's hard to say.
And it's like they're young adult books, whereas this is supposed to be an adult book. But her writing has got better. Now that I will say that.
Okay. Have you played any of the Tiny Epic games? And if so, what's your favourite?
Didn't we play one the other day?
We've played. I don't think we've played very many. We've played Tiny Epic Quest,
Tiny Epic Dinosaurs,
which I liked. I don't think it was amazing, but I don't think I had any big problem with it. I thought it was one where like, yeah, it was good. But I've got a playthrough for that from a couple of years ago, and we played Tiny Epic Dinosaurs a few weeks ago, which in like the first couple of rounds I was so keen on. I was so pumped for, and like I thought, like, oh well, this is a simpler, more streamlined Dinosaur Island. Which again, I like that, but there's a few things that I have problems with. I didn't really like the dice in Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. About like you get a dinosaur and then you might get two dinosaurs. I don't understand why that's even a thing. I like the fact that there was a face on the die that cleared the action space for other people because it's a worker placement game. That was a cool little extra thing. I don't know why one side rewarded a person with extra dinosaurs there.
You find a dinosaur egg when you find the dinosaur.
Yeah, so silly.
That's the thing.
But then as the game went on, I was really, really disappointed by it because it was so restricted in the objectives that were available, which are the main ways you get to earn points, and there's no other way to get rid of dinosaurs. And the kind of downside of having loads of dinosaurs in Tiny Epic Dinosaurs is that they all need feeding, and if they don't get fed, they run away. And so it gets to a point when, especially if they're breeding, it gets to a point where it's completely unsustainable to keep feeding them, depending on which dinosaurs you've ended up getting. And if the cards just don't come out for you that want you to spend those particular dinosaurs, you're pretty screwed, and there's nothing that you can do about it.
But you did win, though.
Did I?
Yes.
I think
so.
I was kind of annoyed. What stood out for you at the UK Games Expo? Didn't really go. I was technically on it because Paul's Gaming Rules stream was part of it, but I haven't really seen anything. Unless people have emailed me about their games specifically, I didn't really check out the UK Games Expo. Nothing against it, but in general, the virtual con thing, it's gutting that the conventions aren't on and stuff, and that we can't find out about games in that way. But the virtual convention idea hasn't really grabbed me for anything. Yeah, so yeah, the Gaming Rules stream last Friday was the best part of the UK Games Expo. You have to grab that. Does it cover only Twilight or the whole series?
I believe so. I believe it is only Twilight.
But hey, there's plenty of room for her to write 10 more books from other people's perspectives. What was going through your head when you decided to make this channel? I don't know. Kind of being bored and just thinking, I'd give that a try. Been thinking about it for a while off and on. I'll just do it one day on one of my days off, and then ended up as all of this. Not much was going through my head. So it's what game will fit in the camera frame when I've only got like my phone on a little tripod from Poundland stacked on a load of cardboard boxes. Which games fit in the frame? Oh, Castles of Burgundy, the card game. Let's do that. Do you sleeve any of your card games? Not really.
We
not in
sleeved
general.
Legendary when we had Legendary Marvel.
Yeah.
We sleeved
But
all of that.
That's because when I bought Legendary and a load of expansions to begin with, second hand, and they were already sleeved. So when we got new things for Legendary, I just kind of kept that up.
We sleeved so when we play Gloomhaven or like Arkham Horror, we sleeve the cards that we use. So Gloomhaven, we would sleeve our deck, our character deck.
Yeah,
and the monster deck. It's like the cards that we use all the time.
Yeah,
that's
like for a lot, and we sleeved like Fuse because we played Fuse to such a degree that we were damaging the cards, and so it kind of needed to happen there. And I sleeved Mage Knight when I got Mage Knight back, just because I really, really wanted to. It does give it that kind of extra prestige and stuff. Like I would love to sleeve everything. Really, it's just the cost of all of those sleeves, especially for something like Thunderstone Quest that's got 1,000 cards or something. It would just cost you way, way too much. And I haven't got any kind of problems with I don't mind them being a bit slippery because I think it's the most satisfying feeling to shuffle sleeve cards by just mashing them together. I'd love everything to be like that, but in general, can't afford to do it too much. But I think we're caught up there, and we've been Q&A Ing for
an hour
and a half. I think that is time to call it for August. We'll be back doing another live stream some point in September, hopefully nearer the middle of September rather than right at the end of it. But, things came up this month. But thank you very, very much for watching this. There's playthroughs coming very soon. Patrons are going to have votes very soon for more top 10s and playthroughs and stuff. And, hey, consider it. Support the channel. Help me keep making stuff, especially while I've got the time to make all of it. Thank you very much for watching this, though, and we'll see you for the next live chat. Bye, everyone.
See ya.
Awkward bit where I try to end it. Yes, I'm sure.